This is a 2020 Subaru Outback, and this is the Touring XT. And today, we're going to review it. Today, we're working with our friends at Luther White Bear Subaru in beautiful White Bear Lake, Minnesota.
Alright, so welcome to our detailed video on the Driver's Information Center and the infotainment screen. So we're going to start with the driver's information screen. And so of course up here, you've got your analog tach and your engine temperature gauge and your fuel gauge and your speedometer. And then in the middle you have a nice digital display. So kind of broken up into sort of three areas. At the top here are the things that you can change. So using these two up and down arrows right here, if I toggle through right now, we've got your radio and miles per gallon. Miles per gallon is going to stay up there. This is a blank screen. Then you have your compass, and if you have navigation on, you'll get turn by turn there. And you got your tire pressure, which these will show up, of course, if you're driving. And then you've got your auto start stop, how many hours or minutes you've gone with it on, and how many how many gallons of gas you save. So you can actually see how your auto start stop feature is helping you as far as your economy goes. And then down here, of course, you got how long the engine's been running, and then you have got down here you've got how many miles you've gone. Okay, over here you've got another miles per gallon, but not in a graphic form, and then how many miles till empty, and then your first trip meter. Okay, so you have tells you how many miles per gallon you're getting, and again how many miles you have until you're empty. Right, you have time and outside temperature, and then we're back to the media. All right, down here you have your safety systems that show up, and it's particularly your adaptive cruise control. So if I turn that on, you have got your gap setting here that you can change. You've got your lane centering and lane keeping assist up there, that can be on or off. And then of course you're just a little symbol telling you that the adaptive cruise control is on. This does, by the way, have fully adaptive cruise control, so it will go all the way to a stop, and then you just hit the resume button on the cruise control buttons or tap the accelerator and it will go again. Digital speedometer. And then down here you have a bunch of stuff that comes up. For instance, it tells you that the auto start stop is currently off. It tells you the eyesight is functioning, and tells you that it's cold out. So to be careful when you're driving. Your first trip A meter, and then of course your gear symbols. Now, I really like this gear selector. Watch as I shift gears. Watch what it does. It's like you're rolling through. It makes them roll, which I just think is really cool. And of course, if you bump over a minute, you can get different a manually shifting mode if you want. But that's really cool. And then using your trip meter, you can switch between A and B. Now, if you get any warning messages for your vehicle, they will also pop up in this screen right here. And if you press the I button right here, which is a pull up, then it will give you more information on whatever the warning was. So that's what the I button on here is for. Otherwise, you just toggle through these top ones right here. When you're on media, if you're using the media controls, you can see what's happening here. For instance, if I do volume, you see that the volume goes up. If I change sources, I'll let the volume button go off there. You can go right through it. It'll show you all your sources. So all your media stuff does show up in there. All right, so that is the Driver's Information Center. Next, we're going to move on over to the infotainment screen and show you what's all on there. Okay, so moving on over to the infotainment screen. First of all, this has nothing to do with infotainment. This is your hazards button. Okay, coming on down the left, you've got a physical volume knob. You have got, if you just push and let it go, it's a mute, which I like. And of course, if you push and hold, then it is a power. Okay, would you like to turn the display off? Sure, and then it goes off. Okay, so that might be nice for some nighttime driving. Just push and hold it to kind of come back on. Then in addition to that, down here you have a front defroster button and then a driver's temperature setting. Over on the right, you have a tune button, so you can see the radio changing stations. It'll do the same for XM or AM radio, or your different tracks on your CD. If you push and hold, you will get some audio controls. For instance, your equalizer, okay? And of course your balance and fade, which you can do with your finger, or you can use the arrows. This is, by the way, a 12-speaker Harman Kardon sound system. Beautiful. And it has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Bluetooth, and then it will also do a home link for you so you can control some of your home devices like your temperature, your lights, and that kind of stuff. All right, so the way the screen is basically set up is there are 3 different zones. Up here, you've got one zone. Down here, you've basically got your apps. And then down here, you have your climate control. They've given you 3 shortcuts right on the main screen. You've got a home button, which brings you to this screen. And then the second dot you see here is for more widgets to be added. Okay, if I press on the car icon, then I get a couple of interesting things. So I got vehicle control, like vehicle dynamics, so it's just on or off, X mode on or off, auto vehicle hold on or off, steering responsive headlights, which is way awesome. So the headlights actually swivel as you turn the wheel. Okay, you can look under driving assistance. So here's some of your safety stuff: pre-collision braking on or off. Okay. Lane departure prevention functions. Now this will give you a list of a few things: lane departure prevention function only, warning buzzer only, or off. Okay, so you can choose what you would like. And then of course your blind spot detection and rear cross traffic alert on or off. And then you have something called others, and under that you've got cruise control acceleration characteristics, which I really like. So when you, as I told you earlier, this is fully adaptive cruise control. So let's say you've come to a stop and the car ahead of you goes. Well, you either hit resume on the cruise control buttons or tap the accelerator, and you can determine how fast your car accelerates. If you do an eco mode, it's going to slowly accelerate. Comfort will go a little faster than eco. Standard a little bit faster than dynamic, is a little sportier. Okay, you can determine how that takes off after the car that you're following, which I really like. Okay, warning volumes. Okay, you can choose minimum, middle, or maximum for those kinds of warnings. Okay, so this is your auto start stop button to turn it off. Right now, of course, showing blue, it's on, and you click like this and then it goes off. So you can change that. Driver monitoring system, that's right up here in this camera. Okay, you can turn that on or off. All right, and so that's what's under here. Okay, so on the car button, let me show you then the person button. Okay, here's where you can add profiles right away. Okay, and you would just go to the add button, and then you have to go through a couple steps. I'm not going to, of course, do that, but you can set profiles. Okay, we'll go back to home. All right, so then let's go up to this top screen. So the top screen again has 5 little dashes underneath it. So this first one is your infotainment, or your media stuff. So you can use your steering wheel buttons. You can go through all the different little sources that you have. Got the time, got the outside temperature, and of course it shows you that volume has been muted. Using this arrow, oops, I went over too many. This is kind of a blank screen if you don't want so much information showing. This one, of course, gives you your acceleration, it gives you your fuel consumption, and then it gives you the angle that you're driving at, which might be useful if you're in X mode, going off-road a little bit. Temperature, and you can, of course, program what city it looks at. And then you can turn X mode on or off. Okay? So then let's jump down to the very bottom screen here and just go through just a few of these. But again, if I press here, up pops my heated seats and ventilated seats. So I've got 3-stage heated seats, and I like that they're back and bottom heated, or 3-stage ventilated. Okay, you can slide this for temperature control for the driver's area. It is a dual zone auto climate control system. And then here's your sync button. I like it when sync buttons are physical. This one has it as a push button on the infotainment screen. You can see that if you leave it long enough, it automatically goes back. You do have, if I press on auto here, I can change the different modes, recirculatory, max AC, I can set the fan speed, but I can also do that directly from down here. So I can just change the fan speed from right down here. But the minute I click that, it goes to the screen. Okay, if I turn it on or off, that is just a button right on the screen, doesn't go anywhere else. And of course, same with the AC. And if you press the passenger side, you get the same controls for the heated and ventilated seats on both sides, and the temperature controls and the sync button. All right, so I'm going to show you settings, car info, and then the 2 media buttons, and a little bit about apps and the navigation. So going in here, for some reason Subaru separates radio from other sources of media. I wish they would combine these, but anyways, if I go press on that, I've got Bluetooth, USB, iPod, iPhone, CD, and auxiliary. So you can switch between your different sources there. If you press on any of them, let's just say CD, and I press on this little icon, up comes my graphic equalizer and my balance fader. And that's the same for any of these sources here. So let's go back here and there's nothing coming in on Bluetooth. If there was, you'd have a play button and a fast forward button, a rewind button, browse, repeat, and then a shuffle button. Right? So that's for all the stuff up here. Now, if I go back here and go to radio, this is where you get your AM radio, FM radio, and Sirius XM. And of course, you can see all this in here. So you can see we can scroll right through these. Okay? And then if I click on this information button, this stuff disappears. So if you don't want to have quite that much information on your screen, you can take that off. This is that same button, takes you back to all this equalizer and the balance fader. Okay? And then you can do a direct tune here, where you can actually punch in a number if you want, a channel or a radio station. And then these are your presets. So if I go down here and I press and hold, now it not only saved my FM ones, but also my Sirius XM, which is really cool. I have an older car, and my presets, for the radio, do not include my Sirius XM ones. So this is kind of nice that you can have a combination. So you could have AM, you could have FM, you could have Sirius. Just that's really cool. And then of course you have a scan button if you want to scan through things. Okay, you do have a traffic and weather now button. Okay, so I had earlier set it for Detroit, but you can actually get the traffic and weather right there. Just the quick push of a button. So you have a direct tune button. The other button you have is a replay button. So if I click on this, I can actually do some replay what I've heard, if that's features available on those channels, and I can pause it. Okay? And then of course I can, as normal, I can browse through different categories and stuff, just like you would on any XM satellite system. All right. So we'll press the home button. So there's radio and media. So now let's take a look at car info. Okay, down here as you're driving, it'll show you which wheels are getting traction, or I should say not traction, but power. Okay, advanced package here. What this does is, if you're curious about what does a particular safety system do, this will explain it to you. So they've got little lines that are drawn to each thing, and if I click on it, for instance, eyesight, it now gives me all sorts of information about what each part of eyesight does. Okay. So you can read about it if you don't know, and it's the same for each one of these buttons. Okay. Now, let's go to maintenance, and then under maintenance, of course, you can set sort of a schedule for your tires, like when did you last rotate them, your oil filter, your engine oil. And this little gear symbol allows you to set the information, set the time, notification date, and the remaining miles, and so forth. Okay. All right, so let's go back here, and we're going to come down and take a look at settings for a minute. All right, so up on the top, first of all, you've got a bar here. You've got general, sound, navigation, phone, radio, and car. All right, let's go back here, and under general, you've got some things like you can turn on. Let's go back to the top here. Okay, this is where you can adjust your clock, the display, Wi-Fi, a Wi-Fi hotspot, your reminder screen, your camera, your climate control, tire pressure units, home screen shortcuts. That's that second screen I was showing you when I swiped over. Okay, and a welcome screen on or off. You can even have a birthday list or an anniversary list if you want. Have trouble remembering things. It'll remind you. I don't know if it'll sing happy birthday to you, but it wouldn't surprise me. Periodic rest notification. After you're driving so long, the car will remind you need to take a break. Then, of course, this is where you come down to your software update and apps recovery and that kind of stuff. All right, let's go over to sound for a minute. Okay, now, the thing I like about this is that it's where all your volumes are located. So the car has so many different things that, beeps and squawks at you and does different things. This is where you can set all those volumes. So if I go to the top here, you got navigation volume, beep sound setting, beep sound volume, call volume, ringtone, readout volume, voice volume. I mean, that's just really cool. I like it that you can in one spot change all those things. All right, let's go to navigation for a minute. And any navigation unit you've ever had, if you go into the settings, you can change different parameters and things. So this is one of those areas. So what do I want it to show along the route? Parking, gas stations, or rest areas, and I can turn any one of those on or off. Okay, arrival distance time. Show remaining distance, show remaining time, switch between distance and time automatically. I mean, it's just a plethora. I won't go through every one, but this is where you can turn on those preferences for your navigation system. And then finally, there's your map update. Okay, going over again. If I go to phone, I don't have one hooked right now, but I can manage devices, look at phone book, recent calls, messages, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. If I go to radio, I can either turn on or off FM HD radio settings, and I can also look at saved bookmarks. Okay. Now, I'm going to go over to car for a minute, and car has a few interesting things. This is where some of your safety stuff is, for instance, eyesight. You got pre-collision braking, lane departure prevention function, cruise control acceleration characteristics, select drive on left, drive on right. Because this car is sold in multiple places in the world. So some are left-hand drive, some are right-hand drive. Lead vehicle acquisition sound. What this one does is when you have adaptive cruise control on and it locks on to a car in front of you, it'll beep to let you know. Lead vehicle moving monitor. This is the one where if you're at like a stop sign or stoplight and you're not paying attention, the car ahead of you goes at a certain distance, this car will beep at you to let you know that traffic has resumed. Eyesight assist monitor. Now the eyesight assist monitor, it's a little bit of a misnomer. I think of monitor as a screen, like a TV screen. This is not what that is. What this is right up here on the dashboard, there are 3 lights that come on. And I'll show you real quick. I'll shut the car off and I'll turn it on again. And open my door and close it quick. And you should see yellow, red, and green. Okay, hopefully you saw that. Okay, now, that is what the monitor is, okay? So I can turn off the red, the yellow, or the green. Now, as best as I can figure out, the yellow indicators it's like this went off on us a couple times when we were driving today. And the yellow seems to be like it sends the sensors as far away as it possibly can. So I ended up turning off the yellow because it was just a little too sensitive for me. But I left the green and the red on. Okay? So, but you can adjust the colors right there. Okay, driver monitoring system. Okay, now this is where driver focus technologies comes in. Okay, if you click on there, driver monitoring system is on or off. You can repeat a facial scan if you want. User recognition, so when you step in the car, it recognizes you. Auto retract seat on entry. So you open the door, the seat automatically slides back, which I turned on because I like that. And then you can register as a user. Okay, and if you do that, okay, it'll say adjust seat and door mirror positions, then press set. If I did that, then it would be set for me. All right, so if you set that facial recognition for the driver focus technology and you want to delete it, like say you're selling the car or whatever, you go to settings. Okay, you're probably going to be on general. Just scroll to the right to get to car, and then go to driver monitoring system and scroll down the list. So you can delete user, you can delete the driver position and reset it, you can update the seat and mirror positions, or you can delete all users. So I'm just going to go to delete user, click on this one, delete user 1, okay, and user 1 is deleted. Keyless entry system. You can make multiple settings here. Do you want audible signal? Do you want the hazard warning flashers on or off? Do you want to unlock the driver door only? Do you want to have the rear gate trunk only? There's just lots of options that you can go into. Okay, you can set the time for the defogger, the time for the interior lights, auto light sensor. Okay, you can, when you're driving with auto lights, sometimes they don't come on as early as you want. This is where you change that sensitivity. If you change the sensitivity to max, it's going to come on earlier. Right? If you set it to minimum, it'll come on when it's darker. Okay, we'll leave it in the middle. Okay. One touch lane changer. What that is just it's just a turn signal feature. And if you tap to the left signal and this is on, the blinkers will go 3 times and then shut off. If you turn that off, they won't do that. Auto door lock or unlock. Okay, so if you want the door to auto lock at a certain speed, or do you want to do when you shift into or out of park. Okay, door mirror settings here. Vehicle dynamic control on or off. You have auto vehicle hold. So if you're stop at a red light, you can depress the brake a little bit, and then the little light will show up on your dashboard. It'll say AVH, and then you can take your foot off the brake, and the car stays stopped until you press the accelerator. Auto start stop is another spot here where you can defeat that and turn that on or off. This is the blind spot detection and rear cross traffic alert. On or off. Now you notice all of these, and it's the same for all of these: steering responsive headlights, warning volumes. You notice a little eye next to everything? That is so that you're like, well, what does that do? Well, you can just click on it and it will tell you. All right, now let's go back. That's all under car. So many ways you can configure the information on the car. You do have, of course, the Starlink. You do have My Subaru. If I press on maps here, I want to show you that quickly. You have a really nice map display, and you can, of course, zoom in or zoom out. This button will make it full screen, so it gets rid of the stuff on the top, gives you a little bit of extra room for the navigation screen. Okay, and then, of course, you can go to menu, and then you can program in a route. Okay, last thing, I'm going to show you apps right here. So here, if my phone was connected, I would have Apple CarPlay would show up, Subaru Starlink would show up, XSM Travel-Link always shows up. That's a really cool feature if you've never played with that. You can get fuel prices, sports, stocks, weather alert, parking. It's just, so many neat things you can do with that. All right. So I'm going to go back here quick. If you want to add more icons to the screen, you simply go to Add Shortcuts, pick what you want. So I want phone. Oops, nothing connected. So let's do radio. I can go to a specific screen or a specific XM station. I'm just going to go to the FM screen, and there it is right there. And now I just have a shortcut right to that. All right, so one of the other features on the infotainment screen, and the last two that I want to show you, is first of all that front view camera. There's just a button on the dashboard with a little camera icon that says view. You get a 180-degree view. You get some fixed guidelines to help you know, get some distance measurements. And if you put it in reverse, of course, you get a very nice backup camera, and it has dynamic guidelines and also static guidelines, along with a hitch locator for when you back up to a ball on a hitch. Overall, I really like the screen. I really do. It's quite responsive. I know some people have said it's not very responsive, but I find it to be quite responsive, and I really like it. I do wish there were more physical buttons for the climate control, but this works. All right, and that is the detailed review of the infotainment screen. Thanks for watching.